We spend so much time looking way up at the stars trying to find alien life. But right here on Earth, there is literally an entire alien world hidden right beneath the crushing weight of our oceans. Welcome to This Explainer. Today, we're diving straight into the darkest, most mysterious, and absolutely most unforgiving environments on our planet. We're going to look at the bizarre biology, the terrifying physics, and the sheer, terror of the abyss. So get comfortable and prepare yourself for an incredible descent.
Picture this. It's 1997, and deep-sea sensors pick up this massive, ultra-low-frequency sound coming from 1,000 kilometers away. Exhaustive research revealed something completely chilling. No known deep-sea creature was actually capable of producing it. I mean, did it come from something 100 times larger than a human? We simply didn't know. Now, fast forward to 2023. The OceanGate Titan, right? A super high-tech submarine designed to take tourists down to the Titanic wreckage, totally loses its signal just an hour and a half into its dive. Days later, we find out it had catastrophically imploded. So what exactly is down there? What forces are so insanely powerful that they instantly crush our absolute best technology? And more importantly, what massive creatures might still be hiding out in the dark? Okay, let's dive into this. Because to really understand these mysteries, you first have to wrap your head around the sheer unbelievable scale of the ocean. Imagine taking the Burj Khalifa, the tallest building on Earth, and flipping it upside down into the water. It barely even scratches the surface. Now take Mount Everest and drop that in. You still haven't touched the bottom. Literally, you could stack the Burj Khalifa on top of Mount Everest like giant puzzle pieces, submerge the whole shebang, and you still wouldn't reach the actual floor. Because of this totally mind-boggling depth, a staggering 95% of our oceans remain completely unexplored. So to make sense of this massive expanse, scientists divide the ocean up into 5 distinct layers. Think of this as our descent itinerary for today. As we travel down to a mind-blowing 11,000 meters, you'll see that every single zone has its own unique physics and completely bizarre inhabitants. So let's plunge right into those first layers. Starting off, we have Zone 1 and 2, sunlight to twilight, taking us from the surface down to 1,000 meters. Now, in the first 200 meters, it's pretty normal. You've got sunlight, aquatic plants, familiar marine life. But as soon as we drop into the twilight zone, the light totally vanishes and the biology gets, weird. Take the oarfish. Because it's pitch black, this incredible animal actually generates its own electricity. But what's truly fascinating is its behavior. Living at these depths makes the oarfish incredibly sensitive to seismic shifts. Time and time again, they act like a biological warning system. Right before the devastating 2011 earthquake and tsunami in Japan, oarfish were spotted washing up on beaches out of nowhere. The exact same eerie thing repeated in Mexico in February 2025, and again in California. Basically, when this deep-sea residence suddenly flees to the surface, it means the tectonic plates are about to violently shift. 5,000 kilograms, that is the staggering weight of just one Twilight Zone resident, the sperm whale. Not only do they have immense mass to push through those dark, heavy waters, but the sperm whale also holds the title for possessing the largest brain of literally any creature on planet Earth. Now, what's really interesting about this is how biological life scales up in terrifying ways down here in the dark. The colossal squid, for instance, weighs as much as a car and comes equipped with the largest eyes in the world. We are talking eyes literally the size of dinner plates, just to capture whatever faint, tiny traces of light might exist. And then there's the siphonophora. While the individual organisms are actually tiny, they link together in these crazy colonies to form massive ribbon-like structures that can grow to be 2 or 3 times larger than a blue whale. It's a perfect example of how life scales up bizarrely when you strip away the sunlight. Sinking further, we hit Zone 3, the midnight zone, stretching from 1,000 to 4,000 meters deep. Down here, sunlight is just a distant memory. Zero light, low energy, and the pressure is 380 times greater than at the surface. Just for context, that's the exact cold, crushing void where the Titanic currently rests. Survival down here requires some extreme biological hacks. The bear-life fish, for example, this thing literally has a transparent head with 360-degree rotational vision just to scan the pitch-black water for the faint silhouettes of its prey. Wild, right? We also find the famous anglerfish, using that glowing lure on its head to attract victims. And their mating habits? Just as extreme. The tiny male anglerfish literally bites into the much larger female and fuses his entire body into hers, just hanging on there until he dies. Because meals are incredibly rare down here, Creatures like the black swallower absolutely cannot afford to be picky. This fish is capable of unhinging its jaw and swallowing prey 3 to 4 times its own size whole. But actually, their gluttony is their own worst enemy. They frequently die simply because they bite off way more massive creatures than they can actually digest. Let's move to and see how this builds as we enter Zone 4, the abyss, running from 4,000 down to 6,000 meters. We've officially entered a fiercely hostile environment. Humans know incredibly little about the creatures living here, aside from oddities like the Dumbo octopus, which has these heavily modified ear-like hands to kind of just propel itself through the freezing darkness. But the abyss isn't just dangerous because of the pressure. The environment itself is literally a trap. The ocean floor here features brine pools. These are literal underwater lakes that are so incredibly dense with salt and toxins that falling into one means instant death for any sea creature. And right nearby, you've got hydrothermal vents acting as underwater volcanoes, blasting out water heated to a scorching 400 degrees Celsius. It's a landscape of absolute extremes. And finally, we reach the absolute bottom. Zone 5, the trenches. 6,000 to an unfathomable 11,000 meters. 1,800. To put that into perspective, if you stood at the bottom of the trenches, the physical weight of the water pushing down on you would feel exactly like having 1,800 elephants stacked on top of your body. Under this kind of unimaginable physical force, typical biology fails completely. That is perfectly illustrated by creatures like the snailfish. To survive, they have evolved to have absolutely zero bones. If they had a normal skeletal structure, it would be instantly pulverized by that water pressure. Which brings us to our next major question: the physics of the deep and why our high-tech fails. You know, we can send advanced rovers all the way to Mars, but our technology absolutely struggles to survive our own ocean floor. And this brilliantly illustrates the problem. Take the OceanGate Titan sub. It was built using a combination of carbon fiber and titanium joints. Well, the fatal engineering mismatch? Under the monstrous pressure of the deep sea, carbon fiber compresses and expands at a totally different rate than titanium. This difference in material behavior under such immense strain caused a microscopic crack to develop. And at those depths, a microcrack is literally all it takes. Within mere milliseconds, the surrounding pressure forcefully and completely imploded the vessel. But here's the thing, pressure is only part of the equation. Navigating a submarine in the deep sea is a massive logistical nightmare because the environment is just violently unpredictable. You're dealing with sudden, extreme temperature shifts in the water, unpredictable volcanic eruptions popping off right beneath you. And to make matters even worse for navigation equipment, the deep ocean generates drastic, chaotic magnetic field changes. Submarines down there are essentially driving blind through a shifting thermal minefield. All of this uncharted, chaotic territory fuels some truly incredible theories. Consider this. All cellular life on Earth is actually thought to have originated from the rich minerals blasted out by those ancient ocean volcanoes we talked about. So, with 95% of the ocean still unexplored and satellites actually capturing massive anomalous shapes moving in the South Atlantic, some scientists and theorists are actively debating, could massive ancient creatures, perhaps something akin to the mythical Leviathan, still exist down there, completely hidden from human eyes? As we begin our ascent back up to the surface, we need to talk about a warning from the deep. So the crucial point is, why are these bizarre deep-sea creatures suddenly appearing on our shores with such increasing frequency? The truth? The deep is reacting to us. Sure, pre-tectonic earthquake activity pushes them up, as we saw, but increasingly, human actions are directly to blame. Our surface pollution is causing severe oxygen depletion deep down in the water column. Plus, commercial deep-sea mining is sending massive, deafening sound waves and destructive vibrations straight into the abyss, absolutely devastating these fragile, untouched ecosystems. We aren't just visiting the dark, we are literally driving its inhabitants out of it. Which leaves us reflecting on a really difficult question. Are we destroying a world we haven't even fully discovered yet? The deep sea really is our planet's final frontier. It holds ancient secrets, incredible biological wonders, and physical forces we can barely comprehend. As we keep pushing the boundaries of our own technology and industry, we have to decide how we're going to treat this unseen alien world that is quite literally right beneath our feet. Thanks so much for joining me on this incredible descent, and I really hope this explainer has given you a whole new perspective on the true mysteries of the abyss.